All right, so welcome to our first podcast where you dive inside the mind of three high school students and what they think about certain political topics. So, the first topic we're going to be talking about today is going to be about school, what we think about school, all of us. So, I have a few topics lined up here. I just wanted to know what your guys' take on this was. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about in school is bullying, what it is now and what it's evolved into. Anyone want to take the first bite at it?
Well, I don't see too much bullying nowadays in my daily life at school. A big topic that people like to talk about is cyberbullying, which I haven't personally experienced, and I'd say that I have not personally witnessed bullying in years. Basically, since middle school, I haven't witnessed anything myself.
Yeah, I think growing up, there's always a super anti-bullying sentiment in middle school and elementary school. I think no one really cares about doing it that way. And if you ask an actual bully these days, they would never consider themselves a bully because no one finds that actually cool. And I think obviously cyberbullying is a problem, but when it comes to cyberbullying, it's always direct messages. So you really can't always tell that someone else is doing it, and that's why I kind of think it's hard to stop.
I just think that there's a fine line between friends picking on each other just for fun and actual bullying, and you don't really experience bullying in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And I think that the stereotypical bullying that you'll see in movies and TV shows that never happens. At least at our school, I've never seen anything like that where a group or a person will just target a specific person for whatever it may be. Sometimes people make offhand remarks, but I don't think there's a persistent targeting of a certain group or a certain person for anything.
Yeah, I think bullying's kind of a dead problem these days, especially in high school. Maybe at the lower levels or lower elementary schools it is. So, our next topic, homework and grades, kind of a big topic. What do you think about the difficulty of homework and grades, how much you're given, and what do you think it adds to your education, really?
Well, I think for homework, I didn't experience having too much homework. A lot of people talk about in their junior year being just super overloaded preparing for tests such as the ACT and the SAT on top of their homework load from school, but I didn't have too much. I would sometimes be cramming some nights for tests or trying to get a project done, but on average, I would only spend an hour, maybe 2 hours a night on average on homework, and I thought it was very manageable. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, let's be honest. Everyone, there's a lot of homework, but it's pretty much a bunch of it is literally optional. So if you get it done during the day, like most people do, you don't really have homework. Even during the junior year that we had, where it's supposed to be the hardest year.
Yeah, teachers often gave us time to complete homework in class, unless you were just playing games on your phone the entire time. I was able to get my homework done during class, and it just made life much easier.
I'd say that a lot of the homework assignments that I had, I got 1 month to even complete. If you don't procrastinate, you should be able to complete it.
Yeah, let's be honest. A lot of us will stay up till 1 a.m. during the day, and so if we have a big project due, literally no high school kid is gonna be there's a few that'll do it, but most high school kids are just not going to be sitting down doing an hour a day of it. We'll just stay up for a few hours and get it done. And so I don't think homework's a big problem. I think much bigger problem is test retakes these days, especially at our school.
Standards have kind of dropped away from what they used to be. Test retakes, this year you could retake any test, usually multiple times. And so if you didn't like your grade, you could almost always just get it up to an A. And they've also kind of redone how grading works. If you get an F, it no longer affects your GPA. It says it's a no credit. And so if you fail a class, it doesn't really negatively impact you. So there's really no reason to try as much as there used to be.
Talk about our next topic, phones in school. This is actually a big problem these days, a lot bigger than bullying or or failing academic system. Anyway, what do you think about phones going?
Phones are a very big problem nowadays. Even, I'll admit it, I was often on my phone in classes that I found boring. And there are technically rules at our school against using phones during class. There are even signs in every classroom that say no phones allowed during class unless permitted by the instructor, but they just don't stop kids using their phones. And pretty much every single class that I would have, there would be about half the class at least just sitting on their phones the entire class, never paying attention. They claim that next year they're going to clamp down on it a bit more, but I'm not really sure how to stop it. I only had one class where no one was on their phone at all, and that was because the teacher would take their phone if they were on it. And I just think that the phones are preventing kids from paying attention in their classes, which, affects their grades, affects them learning. And I think that just phones are a pretty big distraction nowadays.
All right, let's get the troll take from
No,
Mr. Khaled.
I have a follow-up question for that, Quinn.
Yeah.
Just would you say that you were more successful in the class where you weren't on your phone?
Yeah, I was definitely more, unless I already knew the topic, I was definitely more successful in the classes that I wasn't on my phone. Like, in economics at the start, I would be on my phone all the time, and I didn't learn the stuff. And then I'd actually start paying attention in the class and, putting in more effort. And then my grades skyrocketed from, barely scraping out a low A to getting above 100% on the last few tests.
Yes, sir. Bruh. I mean, here's the thing about phones is, you can have, the super strict teacher that puts them away, and that sometimes works. But there's also the fact that people, you don't always know that they're on their phones. Obviously, they're staring down at the crotch. Obviously, they're on their phone. But, if everyone's on their phone, what are you going to do? You're going to stop class every few minutes when someone's on their phone to, take it out? I mean, then you're just disrupting your class, and you're, letting them disrupt your class instead of actually helping the students who want to learn. Because if someone's going to be on their phone, then they don't want to learn. And if they don't want to learn, then you're not going to be able to help them even without their phone for some people. And so I think phones is obviously a big problem, but it's not as easy to solve as always just taking it away. So next topic, let's talk about the teachers at school. What do you think about the teachers?
There's definitely a big range of not great teachers, and it goes all the way to really great teachers. I had a couple this year that didn't teach me anything, and I thought they were not a good teacher. They were definitely in the wrong profession. And then there were some teachers that I enjoyed every single second of being in that class. They made everything interesting, even with
Okay, but what made them different?
what made them different, probably, I'd say, I don't know, their personality was a bit, more just fun. They would make jokes about stuff in class. They would, kids that would want to participate, they'd get their input and use that. I found that the teachers that I didn't enjoy their class as much, they would try to, get everyone's participation, and then the classes that I really enjoyed, the teacher would just, take the participation that they got from the students that actively wanted to participate.
So, that kind of ties back to the point about, phones. Some people are going to be on them, and so always taking them away doesn't always work.
Yeah. But I do think that some people participating and then the teacher using that to get a bit more participation, because if your friend is participating, then you might want to participate as well. And I think just the teachers that did a good job, included the class in their lessons. They liked the topic that they were teaching, and they made the topic interesting even if it wasn't.
Okay. What do you think, Mr. Khaled?
I think that teachers these days don't understand that there's more than one learning variety. There are people who are hands-on learners, visual learners. I mean, you got to go outside the box sometimes. The ways that I learn best may not be the ways that Quinn learns best, but the teachers should try and collaborate and get to know how their students do the best. The thing that I like about our high school is that the What I Need room, the WIN room, allows one-on-one tutoring, basically, to actually help the kid if the kid needs to seek it. So the kid wants and has to seek the help, but I got a lot of help in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one room was great.
All right. Let's move on to our last topic, mental health. What do you think about mental health, Mr. Caleb?
I feel like social media and that really messes with people's mental health, because like I don't know, I think I don't want to like portray it in a bad way, but I think it's mostly girls who like want their self-image to be high, and they'll like if they don't get as many likes as another person, they don't feel well liked or well respected, and it kind of goes like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously there's an aspect of grade pressure, and unfortunately we have had, some unfortunate suicides at our school, and it's really sad. But I think this mental health, a lot of it is from grade pressure from parents, but I agree with you that I think social media has a large part to play in it. And like all of us here use social media in one context or another, but I know as parents, like this is from a high school perspective asking the parents. I know it's like hard to monitor your students on social media, or some of you like go overkill, but it's really cringy. But like I don't know, maybe you should just like check in on how your kids are doing, and like obviously you need to go further than just saying like how are you doing, because obviously they're gonna be like I'm fine, I'm okay. They're not gonna open up to you like that. But if you like actually like ask them about what they did that day, and you actually like go into their lives, and like instead of asking just 2 questions about their day, I think you would be able to understand a lot more about how they're really feeling, because everybody's going to say, I'm fine, I'm okay, when you ask them how they're doing. Like, very few people are going to be like, I actually tell you how they're feeling. That's what I think.
Yeah, I honestly don't really tell people how I'm feeling. I'd give the standard no. I'm okay. No matter what. I generally have pretty good mental health stuff. I'd say the only things that I personally suffered from this year were like grade pressure. Though in past years I had a lot more grade pressure from outside forces. Like other people wanting me to get good grades, and this year it was mostly myself driving the one to get good grades, and I found that push of myself wanting to do that instead of other people wanting me to do that was a lot better. And so if you're able to spin like wanting to get good grades as the student's point of view, it might help a lot. Might be a kind of bad take, but
yeah. All right, do you have one more thing to add?
I'd say that friends have a huge impact and burden on one's mental health. And just like from what I've experienced and when I've been the most happy, and this is coming from like just Andrew Tate, but I know.
What a beast.
But he said, and these words stick by me, but you are the sum of the 5 or so people who you are around.
That stuck with me too, actually.
So I knew that when I was in the very lowest was when I was hanging around with troublemakers and people who didn't care about school or whatever, doing drugs and stuff. But when I locked down and wanted to like better myself, and I hung out with straight A students, people who cared. Yep, like you two. Yep. then I'm very happy now. So just want to put that out there.
So I guess we have like, to wrap it up, we have like 3 big takeaways. I guess we could say all. Like the first thing is like, here's one takeaway that I have about school, is that you're not gonna be able to force everyone to do well in school. Like, look at how grades did. Like they had to drop the level of academics so that they could get everyone to try and do well in school, but that just
you need
failed.
to want it and you need to earn it.
Exactly. The best teachers are the ones that really only pay attention to the kids who want to learn in class, and those are the kids that get the most out of the class. And like lastly, like in general, what you were talking about earlier when it came to the classes and grades you enjoyed and how you did in economics when you started listening, I think just paying attention really to the kids who want to learn in those classes is the best thing you can do. And instead of trying to get the kids who don't want to learn in those classes, you need to first be able to motivate them to want to learn, because otherwise it's not really going to work out well.
Yeah, and honestly, class participation plays a big role in making kids like the class, but you can't just get participation out of people that don't want to participate. You have to, kind of see which students want to participate and then use that participation to just honestly make the class better.
And then moving on to mental health, Do you guys have any big takeaways from that?
I think just like Caleb said, social media is a big detriment to students' mental health, especially teenage girls. In my life, I've seen multiple people suffer from it. It can really mess people up, but I don't have a quick fix for it. Though I do think it is definitely a problem.
Yeah, and then the last thing you said, really good advice out there. I mean, if you're a parent, you're looking at your kid, you should really look at what friends they hang out with.
Yeah, for sure.
If they're hanging out with good friends, I mean, there's not really much to be worried about. And yeah, you're right. Like, there's the saying, you hang out with knuckleheads, you'll be a knucklehead. I mean, if your kid is hanging out with good friends, I don't think you should really worry about what they're doing. And, that's really what I would do if I was being a parent. Because I know that I'm definitely influenced by the friends I hang out with. Not just in, what I do, but how I speak even, And I think that's a big deal. Do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
People around you make a huge difference in who you are. When I would, like Caleb said, if I was surrounded by people that didn't care, didn't try, it'd make me care and try less. And if I'm surrounded by people that, really want to succeed, it makes me want to succeed as well.
All right. Anything else to add, guys? All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to our really weird podcast where 3 high school kids give their take of the world.